off in the race room, so we should be starting any moment now. And there we go. We're going to listen to the instructions from the king and see what treasures our runners will have to help them in their journey.
Looks like Stag's going with the Dragon Warrior 1 hero there, Yoshi for Elmore. And we got a silver harp here, as well as a fairy water.
Yeah, so that silver harp, one of the key items that our runners need, it actually needs to be turned into the Staff of Rain cave to become a Staff of Rain. So it's always nice to get that early, and having it in tow, they can have it right away. Or they might use it to summon some mid-tier monsters.
Yeah, I think you know a little bit about that there, don't you?
Yes, my one of my races, I think I spent about 45 minutes inside of that harp because there wasn't anywhere else I could find to go.
It's great. We have a specialist in harp strats here with us today.
Absolutely. It looks like ElmoreStJames went ahead and used that fairy water, took out a magician right off the bat, so he's got level 2. Comes with moderate stat gains and the heal spell. Heal very welcome early in the game.
Yeah, you love to see that. Stags is able to take a peek here in this town just to the east of Tanagel, and it's Cantlin, but of course no money right now, so nothing much doing there. Just mark that down for later reference.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of Cantlin, our runners have agreed to some special flags. They have the permanent torch on, so right. They will always have light, as well as random weapon shop prices. So the weapons and armor will actually be randomized prices. So we might see a silver shield for sale for, 3 gold and a copper sword for 14,000.
Yeah, that's right. It might actually pay to check those shops that are accessible, the top shop and the bottom shop, sooner rather than later with that in mind. Once you've built up a little bit of gold, because you never know, you might be able to spike some really great gear for a low, low price.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it very much could be a game changer. Of course, only having, I think he didn't have any gold walking in there, so probably not too worried about it then. But our runners just kind of fighting in this desert here, some Zone 1 monsters, trying to build up a little bit of an experience buffer. Looks like Elmore grabs level 3. Again, not great gains there, but he does pick up hurt and return.
Yeah, 2020, I think, was that one. So a couple of empty slots in that last level.
He just found a spell tome with some cantrips in it or something. The hurt, honestly, with the strength being not great, is all right, especially against some mid-tier enemies. If they could find some wolves or something, they could definitely hurt those down for some big experience. Maybe this warlock.
Yeah, absolutely. You love to see hurt early, especially when your strength isn't great. And this warlock's just casting hurt back, so that would be a reasonable target once they're able to get their resources back in order.
Yeah, absolutely. ElmoreStJames has not taken a death yet or used any in. They won't be able to afford the Cantlin in, so I think he's just fighting the stuff that he can until it's time to go back and get some magic points. And Stag's doing just that.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. If it doesn't look like you're in any imminent risk of dying, you can hold on to that gold. He's already seen a couple things. I believe the bottom shop of Cantlin, at least, was mostly unaffordable things, but there was a half plate or a full plate, I think, that was in the 150 or so range.
Oh, that would be an excellent get right there. And it looks like Elmore did take a death against a scorpion with baby breath. Shot him for 26 damage, sent him home. Took half his gold. And I don't even know if Elmore has looked over to the right to see that town. He keeps just barely skirting. I think it's literally one tile over.
I think it's a column to the east there. So he'll see it very soon, I'm sure. But in the meantime, maybe missing out a little bit.
And Stag's making use of that hurt spell, immediately taking down a scorpion. Again, at these low levels, level 3 scorpion is great experience. And boom, there's level 4. 4 power, 6 response speed, 2 hit points, 1 magic, no spells. Another kind of meh level.
Yeah, not great. They've only got 4 casts of hurt right now. You don't love to see that. But at the same time, there are certainly more disastrous starts. They've got hurt. Some of these enemies have weak breath, but that's, you can still take anything down in 2 hurts. So not a huge deal with their HP where it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they're just going to build up here a little bit, maybe try to get a little stockpile of gold. As you mentioned, Stag saw that plate armor for sale for relatively cheap. And probably just kind of looking for either that breakout hit point level, maybe a hurt more spell, something to give them a little bit more courage to venture out further. At these low levels, there's really no need to go that far from home. You pick up levels fairly quickly. Like level 5 will be at 82 experience, which is just around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. And the time it would take you to find, I mean, it's the odds against you finding something super helpful this early and having to walk through the different zones that they'd have to walk through with more difficult monsters, fairly low. So you may as well stay and take the experience because, as you said, the levels are close and the enemies that they're fighting with hurt are pretty easy to take out.
Fortunately, that Scorpion does breathe the fire on Stags. I don't think he had seen that earlier, and so takes away half of his well-earned gold. But he's still got 48 in the bank.
Yeah, I would think keeping hold of your gold when possible is pretty important when you're using these random weapon shop prices. But here, Stag's getting this level 16, 2, 1, 11, and it looks like a new spell. Outside.
Outside is a pretty welcome spell as well, especially since they haven't been to any dungeons yet. It makes you a little bit more willing to dive like the bottom of the grave. It gets you out of Erdrick's Tablet Cave that much faster. So it's a pretty nice get there to just have, in your back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. You love to see outside early rather than late after you've already been through everything.
Yes, this isn't Dragon Warrior 4 randomizer where outside comes at like level 39 when you've done everything.
Yes. Yeah.
But actually, it looks like their experience extremely close. Just 2 experience points between the two of them. Their gold relatively close, so they've just kind of been floating around each other. It looks like Stag's doing a little bit more venturing out after getting that level 5. Just trying to see what's around home, maybe tie off some of those loose dead ends there.
Yeah, you never want to miss something a tile or so off screen. And speaking of which, we're about 7.5 minutes in here, and I think Elmore has yet to see Cantlin. Probably not a huge deal ultimately, but it's kind of interesting that he just hasn't gone over that far yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stags does meet a Star Wyvern that sends him back along what looked to be a very long land bridge with some swamp tiles on it. So potentially a connection to some landmass over there to the east.
Yeah, so maybe a little choke point there is the only way forward through that little gap based on what we've seen in the map so far.
Yeah, it looks like this southwest is all just those plains tiles, and then it stops. So I think that might be the only direction. Elmore going to top off at the Old Man in Tantagel.
Oh, Aaron, too, you two mentioning in chat that Elmore went into Cantlin and left immediately. I completely missed that, so I apologize.
Oh, so I guess he has seen it. Fair enough. Just didn't check anything there. They're going to continue to burn down these scorpions. Again, if they're at full health, then they're pretty protected. Oh, it looks like it knows heal more as well.
Unfortunate, but if you roll high on those hurts, it doesn't matter. And they're not going to cast that all the time either, so...
Yeah, that's
okay.
The first we've seen it. It's probably a 25% heal more, because we've seen a few hurts not go all the way through.
Right. And they're going to... I think even on a minimum hurt roll, they'd be in heal more range. Because max HP is 13, so that seems about right to me. So if we haven't seen it to this point, chances are it's a low percentage.
And it looks like ElmoreStJames going to take level 6 here. First one to level 6. 11 power, 4 response speed. Only 1 hit point and magic point, and no new spells, though. But the big power boost, that's nice to see. Can now start killing some things with his fists instead of having to spend his magic on it. It allows him to stretch that magic pool a little bit further on the monsters he's fighting now.
Yeah, especially with the low magic points, that's really nice to see. But 46 attack power, you're doing better than hurt damage against all this Zone 0 and 1 stuff now, too, anyway, so that's real great to see. And it looks like Elmore's got enough for the full plate.
Yeah, so full plate, only 185 gold. That's a steal. Other stuff, a little bit more on the expensive side.
Yeah, a lot of this
in its bottom shop.
A lot of it's been very pricey. I saw some stuff down here. The bamboo pole was in the $1,000 range, 1,000 gold range.
Silver Shield 12,941, so not much of a discount there. They will have to do a gold grind if they want to get that. Or potentially, I've seen that amount go up on a natural grind, like if you're grinding Axe Knights or Armored Knights and not dying and taking Death Warps. It's possible endgame.
Yeah, absolutely. So possible, usually less likely. The gold grind is, of course, the most efficient way to get to those higher priced pieces of gear, but it could happen.
And yes, just to answer in chat, the two special flags different from standard here are Permanent Torch and random weapon and armor prices. Items still cost the same amount. And we've got Red Dragon. So far in this little connecting area, this land bridge here, we've seen Red Dragons, we've seen Star Wyverns, and also a Warlock. Warlock, probably the weakest of the red enemies, aside from the red slime.
Yes. Yeah, and there's a Wraith Knight, too.
So that's a particularly nasty path to be going through, especially since there's also all those swamp tiles. They're probably going to continue grinding this desert, honestly, and hope that Hurtmore comes very, very soon.
Yeah, I think that would be a great way to handle it. You do have this zone down here. We've seen at least Wyverns in it, and that's a decent target. They don't quite have the hit points they'd want to take those on yet, but with Elmore's increased armor, he's not taking quite as much damage from them, so if you happen to find one, that wouldn't be a bad target.
For sure. And level 7, that comes at 337 experience points. So again, they're not too far away, just 100 or so on Elmore's side, a little bit more than that for Stags. So, I think staying around here is probably the safer bet. But they're going to get to a point to where they need to be venturing out to fight stronger things, because the levels are going to start spreading out kind of from 7 on. It starts getting a little bit hard to do on these I would call kind of upper end of the lower tier monsters.
Oh, here we go. It's harp time.
Hey, harp strats. Loving it, Stags. Do it. There's a Warlock. Warlock and the harp is great.
Totally fine. Oh, well,
Sleepy Warlock.
less good. Still okay, though. Should be 2 swings.
Yeah, it's just a matter of whether he stays awake.
Yes.
Or can wake up, rather.
Yeah.
And he's playing it again. I'm digging these harp strats.
Okay, Drakey. Not as good.
Yeah, not so much. You can get one of those in that desert there.
In fairness, I mean, we haven't really seen much of the south zone. Looks like it's probably all grassland tiles. You don't like to walk those. And then to the east, we really haven't seen much of that zone yet, but it looks like the north, I think the north zone is accessible on that top row of desert there north of Tanagel. Because I saw at least one poltergeist there, but it didn't seem like there was much more that was high value. So if you can capture some stuff like this with the harp, then it seems like it would make sense here.
Yeah, and I mean, they've seen Warlocks elsewhere, but they're sprinkled in with lower tier monsters. Obviously, there's Drakeys in this harp as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Looks like Stag's fairly committed, continuing to do the harp. So we'll hopefully see some other monsters in there as well. Be nice if there was like a wolf, maybe like a Fatima, skeleton.
Yes, anything like that would be great right now. Scorpion, again, this is available here. That said, I mean, they're closing in on level 7 really fast, so both racers.
Yeah, and so it looks like it's basically the same monsters that are in the zones that they have. It's not much better, except for maybe the time that it plays the harp jingle is maybe a little faster than walking through the desert, but I imagine it probably averages out to about the same.
I think it'd be roughly the same. The harp, I think, takes about 8 seconds. Walking in the desert's theoretically 1 in 8 encounter rate, so... It looks like 3-5-3-2 here for Stags on level 7, but no new spells.
Yeah, so another mediocre level at level 7, and now it's 600 experience points is the amount needed for the next level. So it's starting to get far apart. We'll see what they decide to do.
Looks like Elmore's happy with these warlocks, at least for the moment.
Yeah, we'll see if one of them plasts sleep on him if that changes his mind. And there's the sleep.
There it is.
I called it.
You willed it into existence.
Putting the herd on him. He wakes up and smacks it down. Looks like we've got a full plate on Stag side.
Yeah, pretty critical, I think. Remember that he had enough money for that, came back to get that armor. That helps a lot. At 42 defense, anything that they encounter in zones, in the starting zones, will be broken now. So you don't have to worry about the physical attacks anymore, but most of them have an ability anyway. The Warlock's going to keep throwing hurts. A couple of these enemies have weak breath, so it helps a little bit, but not as much as you would hope, probably.
God, there's blue dragons in this desert right before the land bridge too. So just the choke point is all kinds of gross.
Yeah. It's going to be tough to explore in this one, I think.
Yeah, they're probably going to, once they get through, try to set up like a base of operations around a town and try not to die back to Tantagel so they don't have to walk
Yes.
through it again.
Yeah, that would be a way to do that.
If only I could set down a spawn point.
Yeah. Stag sees his first blue dragon, runs away. Oh, but there are reds here too.
Oh my goodness, this is just
Wow.
just getting better and better and better. So in that time, it looks like Elmore has been able to pull us slightly ahead in the experience realm. Just staying on this consistent warlock grind while Stags has been doing a little more exploration and taking care of his shopping. Elmore is about 75, maybe 100 experience up with that warlock there. It looks like Stag's going to try to make it through the swamp. And he's made it. Across the land bridge, anyways. And we've got a town.
Wow. Didn't get any encounters along the way there to Brecconary.
Yeah, an excellent hero rock. And considering the monsters that we've seen there, that's extremely lucky for Stags there.
Yeah.
Checking the shop. There's a club for 5. He goes ahead and picks that up.
Not often you see a discounted club, but there we go. Not a great selection.
Nope. It's, but every little bit, I suppose. Club, I think, gives, what, 4 attack power?
Yeah, 4 attack power bump. Up to 53 there for Stags now.
And he's continuing this hero walk.
He went a very long went a very, very long time without an encounter.
And then what he got was a red slime, so I mean, that's not good for the experience side. But then there's an Axe Knight to say, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Your little constitutional here has come to an end. Oh, stop spell from the Axe Knight. That's nice to know for later.
Yeah, absolutely. Stop spell. Of course, once our runners get the Erdrick's armor, it just doesn't work. And even then, usually against Axe Knights, they're generally, by the time you're ready to fight them, if you're not hurt mooring them, they're just a couple swings. So it's basically a free attack.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can take advantage of that with either stop spell or the armor, then it's a much simpler fight.
Absolutely. ElmoreStJames rapidly approaching level 8. He is about 3 warlocks away, or maybe a little bit more of lesser monsters. Stag's making the hero walk again. He's able to get away from that Demonite. And he's going to explore south this time. So at this point, we kind of have a divergence in strategies, right? We've got grinding for experience on the left with ElmoreStJames. We've got a little bit more early exploration with Stags28. So we'll see how it works out for our runners. In a lot of races, the grind has been rewarded. I feel a lot in this tournament. But sometimes if he can find that breakout item, if he can pick up like an Erdrick sword or some armor or something like that, it could very easily swing in Stag's way. In fact, there's a cave.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. This will be very telling here how this goes. If Stags finds something important, perhaps the sword, that could be helpful. It's still hard to make best use of that kind of equipment when you only have 38 HP, though, and I can kind of see the argument for grinding here for sure. 13-13-7-2, it looked like, for Elmore on that level. So another big strength gain, and the agility is not half bad either.
Yep, they've been working on their curls and their biceps and whatnot and getting strong. And there's Erdrick's token. Erdrick's token.
You thought that might be it, the complete divergence. But got the Erdrick's tease instead.
Yeah, and again, token not the worst thing in the world to find. It is one of the key items. It's required to get the rainbow drop and to enter into Charlotte Castle. So he's probably happy to have it. ElmoreStJames, in the meantime, has picked up a copper sword, so doing a little bit more damage than that club there.
Yeah, 72 attack power on level 8 with a copper sword is pretty good. Strength is high here, as we said. It's just HP is still a little bit low. 45 means you can't hang in against a lot of enemies, but the armor will help with that to a certain extent, the full plate that they've both been able to purchase. So I'm interested to see what Elmore does next. If he decides he's going to stay and take kind of an easier grind, or try to take that land bridge.
It does look like he's making his way that way. He's out of his warlock zone, and I think he's probably also feeling it. You know, at this point, it's 975. You've got 375 between level 8 and 9, so you got to go. And there he is, walking through that swamp.
Yeah, it can be tough to stomach that sometimes when the best experience you've got available to you is 28 from those warlocks, and even those aren't hassle-free because of the abilities they have, so I can totally see the rationale for exploring here.
Absolutely. He finds a skeleton there. He did, again, just barely miss the town off to the right. I think it was Breckenary, so he's not missing much.
Right.
But, you know, a top off on the health and the magic is never a bad thing. We've got a Demon Knight and a cave on Elmore's screen there. I don't think Stags found this cave. I think he got taken out before he saw it before.
Yeah, I don't believe he's gone quite as far to the west of Breckenary here as Elmore has. So
Ooh, Armor Knight.
Oh, got away.
All right, so Elmore finds the mountain cave. 5 chests in here. Not too deep of a dive either. And potentially another zone to grind in, right? Kind of on the lookout for better stuff to fight.
Right. We've been kind of missing that upper tier of the early zones, your wolves and metal scorpions, this kind of thing, and then even some of those middle game enemies that would be fine right now, like wolf lords, droll magi, druid lords. I think the one wyvern sighting we had was in a zone with lots of other angry stuff, so not as useful.
There's just tons and tons of gold in this cave. I don't think I've seen anything but gold chests.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And Wraith Knight coming to end Elmore's journey here. We know he definitely wants to get to that last chest. He's trying to take a swing, realizes he can't do any damage to it. Potentially could be hurted down if he had enough MP to heal as well between, but I don't think he's got enough magic to get through a full one right at this moment.
Yeah, I think it's a resource issue more than anything else. He's still going to get hit for quite a bit from the Wraith Knight, and I think it's probably around at least a 3 swing fight, probably 4. But here's one of the wyverns, and it's got hurt.
Very nice. Wyvern with hurt, very good. Even its punches aren't doing too much damage because of that full plate armor, and Elmore's able to take it down for a big 64 experience point boon. And that was another gold chest there. Now I missed
Wow.
chest number 2. But the 4 chests that I saw were gold, so I think this might be an all gold mountain cave.
I might be mistaken, but I think the broadsword was selling for about $3,000 in Cantlin.
That could be an excellent pickup if he can get there.
I don't know that it's a bad idea if it's all gold chests.
Just jump back down, do it again, and you've got yourself a healthy weapon upgrade, yeah.
You've got outside in return. If you can manage to get there with 14 magic points and get the gold you need, then you can just pop right back out and be reasonably assured you can get back to Cantlin with the money safely. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly makes sense. And it looks like Elmore's just trying to grind in here. He saw that Spectre on this floor, so he's probably looking for a few more of those.
Yeah, Spectre would be a great find right now.
And it looks like Stags found one. I'm not sure if he's in the same cave or not. Stags hasn't quite got the strength boost from level 8, so it's taken him a little bit longer to take these down.
Yep, working with the club too, so not as good. Speaking of not as good, red dragons appear to have the spell of sleep.
Sleepy red dragon's not what you want to see. And it does look like Stags is in the mountain cave there. But unfortunately, ElmoreStJames, that gold that he picked up, half of it got taken away, so he's kind of out of broadsword contention at this point. Looks like there's knights with sleep in that top floor as well. And that's going to send Stags home.
Yeah, Elmore managed to duck those.
Yeah, he even tried a little grind on that floor and still didn't see one.
Yeah.
And Elmore gonna stock up on herbs, it looks like. Kind of spend that cash before it gets taken away. And probably pick up a dragon scale. Yep. And he does put it on immediately. Dragon scale gives a permanent upgrade of 2 defensive power. You can now sell it, drop it, whatever, and that defense power just stays on your stat bar. And Stags opting to run from that Wraith Knight. Got a Warlock for Elmore as they both make their way back to the choke point. Back attacked by a Demon Knight with all your health gone. Stags needs to make the trip again.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. Maybe would have been able to avoid that if you just heal immediately outside of the swamp, but didn't top off. And was he on the edge of the swamp there?
Yeah, I think he was on the last swamp tile, so I think he was saving his heal for that last step.
Yeah, 26 MP, sometimes you try to make those resources stretch a little bit, and, you know, it's a calculated risk, and Stags, unfortunately, paid the price for it right there.
And swamp tiles have the same encounter rate as what, the mountains or the forests?
Forest. They are both 1 in 16, I believe.
And Elmore, again, just barely missing Breckenary. But does find an Armored Knight. Elmore really, really close to level 9 now. Just over 100. I think 111 points. Yeah, King confirming that. All ones.
Yeah, he's been able to pick up some experience as he continues toward the land bridge. Both racers have, really. They've been keeping it rolling in at more of a trickle than it had been when they were on their dedicated grind, but they're still picking up some experience, which is always good to see. It looks like Elmore just wants to finish the level off, I think.
Yeah, I kind of agree with this as well. You know that there's Warlocks right there. Go ahead and get the level, see what level 9 brings. Hopefully it brings a hurt more, and then they can deal with a lot of the stuff that they've been running into. Not those red dragons, but you know, the Armor Knights, the Axe Knights, the Wraith Knights, all of those can go down in a hurt more or two.
Yeah, we've seen some weaker abilities too from both of the Charlock grade Knights. I believe the Axe Knights had Stop Spell and Hurt. And the Axe Knights, or the Armor Knights, showed Weak Breath, which is going to be slightly less damage than their typical physical attacks at this at these defense points.
Absolutely. And then once they get Erdrick's armor or the magic armor, it gets even better. Actually, magic armor is just against hurt more, right? It's not the breath attacks.
Correct, yeah. So Erdrick's is the only one that mitigates the breath attacks by 1/3. So you get that, and yeah, then that makes them even safer.
Elmore just must have cleared out this forest. There's nothing there for him. And finally, he gets the Warlock. And here comes level 9. We've got 1 power, 22 response speed, 4 hit points, 6 magic. New spell is Heal More. Not what they're looking for, not with this hit points. Heal More would just essentially be a waste of 5 magic because they could do the same job with a heal.
Pretty much. 49 maximum hit points on level 9, so you're rarely going to find yourself in a situation where Heal More makes sense. So not the spell they were hoping for. It's always nice to have it, of course, just so you don't have to search for it later. But that said, agility there you see on the tracker on Elmore's side is now 71, which is in the orange. It's a feasible agility at which to approach the end game. So already on level 9, very high agility, relatively high strength. It's just those hit points and magic points that are lagging behind.
And you know, that 71 agility should help with traversing through this, because now they have at least a decent chance of running away from those armored knights. I mean, it's still not a great chance, but, you know, much better than they were.
Yeah, much improved. I think for, like, say, for instance, right now, the difference between Stags and Elmore because of that level. So Stags is at 49 agility. He's, you know, somewhere around, has about a quarter of a chance to run from Armored Knights and Red Dragons, whereas Elmore on 71 is more like 40%. So it's like a 15 percentage point difference just from that agility boost on level 9.
And looks like Elmore looking for wyverns now in this little corner of the desert. Unfortunately, there's red dragons there as well, but he's able to run away from it. I think that's the second red dragon that ElmoreStJames has dodged today.
Sometimes you can get away from those, sometimes you can't. Percentages are ultimately just percentages.
Yeah, the random number generator's gonna generate. And Blue Dragon has Big Fire.
Yikes. Alright, so we have some nerfed knights a little bit in Charlock, but we also have some dragons that have been beefed up a little bit.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
No, go ahead. I got the reds with Sleep, if I'm recalling correctly. And now those blues with the Big Fire.
Yep, so Dragon's just not looking like anything you'd want on the menu tonight. Although Stags has found a Wolf Lord. This is an excellent enemy to find. If he can farm these here, that could put him well on his way. But it looks like he's going to continue exploring.
Yeah, I think in this situation, being as close as Stags is to level 9, I'd be very tempted to sit down in that zone and see what else is there. It's possible he's already seen something in it that has given him pause, but a Wolf Lord's a great enemy in that tier that we just haven't seen much of so far this seed. So whenever you see that, you maybe think about walking where you saw it just a little bit to see if you can find some more.
Absolutely, and I think there was also a skeleton nearby there, but he does see a cave if he can get through this poltergeist, and so let's see what cave it is. It's the grave. They don't have keys yet, so they won't be able to get to the bottom, but the top does have 3 chests to look into. Very unlikely that it's gold, considering we've seen 4 of the 6 gold chests already.
Yeah.
And there's level 9 for Stag, so he'll get his agility boost right here.
I was a little surprised that he passed on... There was a Wraith he encountered immediately before that, and that's an enemy that's defense broken right now. Or at least it was as of level 8. A lot more things are defense broken on 9.
So we've got a fighter's ring, we've got an herb, and we've got a death necklace. So 2 key items, not key like to unlock, but 2 unique items, if you will. Fighter's ring, he puts that on. That gives him a permanent 2 attack power. And the death necklace is actually modified in the randomizer so that if you put it on, it curses you, just like the vanilla game. But it also increases your attack power by 10 while simultaneously decreasing your hit points by 25%. So oftentimes that can be a difference maker or a deal maker for the Dragon Lord fight. It can often, if you have high hit points, allow you to take that Dragon Lord on like a level or two earlier if your strength is lagging. So it's a nice item to have just in case you need it later on. Of course, with hit points where they are now, I'm not so certain that it'll be viable.
I think we just saw Elmore got away from that red dragon. I believe it cast Hurt. He was thinking about healing there in an attempt to try to get away. And I think caught a Hurt spell. So maybe that red dragon isn't so bad? Who can say?
Well, I mean, but then it
the
knows
sleep
sleep.
is really bad. But
and when it decides not to cast Hurt, it's biting you, right?
Right.
And there's the sleep. But you're right, there is a Hurt there. So potentially, like once they learn Stop Spell, that red dragon might be good eats.
If even if the percentages are say 50 and 50 or 50 and 25, that still means it's casting a lot. So you learn Stop Spell if it's got low stop resist, then they're basically free. Even 73 attack power, you don't love taking that long in a fight, but it's, I don't know, it could be much worse.
Yeah, and they do give huge experience to kind of offset that. So
exactly,
kind of offset the longer fight. Blue dragon, on the other hand.
I will say Elmore's been doing a really nice job. I think he's kept the experience flowing here. He's only about 50 experience points shy of level 10 already.
Yeah, so again, he's been focusing much more on that grind. Stags on the exploration. Stags has now seen, well, I guess now one cave and one town that Elmore has not seen yet. So Stags does have a bit of the knowledge, but Elmore definitely just making that progress towards, once they find Hurtmore, that's going to bust open the seed, right? So I think that's kind of what's going through Elmore's mind right now.
Yeah, exactly. It would change a lot of things. Hurtmore, I mean, because there's a lot of things you can grind for here. More magic points would be welcome. More hit points would be very welcome. With their defense where it is, they can fight a lot of stuff melee if their hit points were just higher, so they can raise some of the things that aren't broken yet. We'll see what level 10 brings.
There, talk about hit points. I think I saw 7, 4, 26, 6. So boom right there. And speaking of kaboom, Gambit17, thank you for the raid. Welcome into Dragon Warrior Randomizer tournament between ElmoreStJames and Stags28. Just to catch you up, we had a Silver Harp in the treasury, and we've had all kinds of nasty Sharlock monsters through the one direction our runners can go. That's pretty much been the story so far.
Do have an previously unsighted town on Stag's screen here. It is Garenham.
So Stag's finding all the key lock doors, but no keys.
That is interesting. We've seen in all of the dungeons, and it looks like a cheap large shield here, 287 for that, for Stags and Garenham. But we've seen and a cheap hand axe too. That's also nice.
Yeah, two very good upgrades from where he was at. Large shield, if they don't have a gold grind available, then that large shield's going to take them through the rest of the game, most likely.
Absolutely. So whenever you see that and it's that cheap, you may as well pick it up. No reason not to. I would say, let me think. So we were talking about keys. We haven't seen Remolder yet, so there's still a lot of stuff locked, but we've already seen virtually all the chests you can get to without a key. And there haven't been any keys there either, because we've seen Elmore clear Mountain Cave, and we've seen Stags pull the top 3 of Grave. And we've seen Stags also dive Tablet. So really only the Stones of Sunlight Cave, Freebie Cave out there remaining to be accessed without a key, and other than that, they're going to need to find Remolder.
Yeah, so towns are kind of the next big thing that they need to look for, as the cave chests are in short supply. And here's another town.
Running low on possibilities. Could be Hawksness, could be Remolder, could be Cole. Of course it's Hawksness.
The one town they don't want. It looks like he might be popping in to see what's on that spike tile, just because why not see what it is?
Well, he knows the Axe Knights. I think he's seen both Axe Knight abilities and knows that they're weak. So this is, I mean, on 80 attack power, he can fight an Axe Knight if it's here.
It's a golem. He has a fairy flute, doesn't he? Oh no,
not
no,
yet,
he doesn't.
No.
I was watching a clip earlier. That's where I saw a fairy flute. Apparently, there was a clip here on Randomania. Actually, there was a Sharlock treasury that was stacked with like the sword, the armor, the fighter's ring, and the flute. It was all in one Sharlock treasury.
Oh wow!
So ElmoreStJames has found a metal slime. He's already done some damage to it. If it sticks around to go down, that's going to be a big boost of experience for him. We do have what's called scaled metal slimes, but after level 8, the experience is the max 255. And I think that's the second damage he's put on it.
And the third. Nicely done. Simultaneously, Stags picking up level 10 got an excellent move there against an Axe Knight, but I like the combat choice. The Axe Knight did swing at him once, but he can take those out right now with his attack power as long as they're casting and not swinging. So, good combat choice there, and I saw Elmore take out a Demon Knight earlier too. I believe it had weak breath, but still, I think they're doing a nice job keeping the experience moving even while exploring here.
Yeah, it's a good heads up. Sometimes when your levels are feeling low or you haven't got a spell, you kind of forget that, oh yeah, my attack power is enough to take these things on. I do have enough hit points to tank a blow or two. And
oh wow, look at this. So Stags hit Swamp South and then cast outside, and he has popped out in the back door of Tanagel. So one of the other ways you can get keys is by this specific method. Fairly unusual, but he is getting keys first.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that, again, gives Stags a significant kind of exploration advantage, if you will, because now he's able to check the treasury. He knows where the Garanham chests are, and he knows where the grave is if he decides to dive it.
Yeah, wow. What a good play there. And there is a gold chest in the Tanagel treasury, that lower right chest. Looks like we've got a cursed belt there, too. And a refund key.
A key fund. So, yeah, that's excellent. Stag's probably going to shoot right over to Cantlin, check the coordinates since he's right there.
So that's a very big deal. I think a lot will hinge on what this level 11 brings. Elmore is finishing it off right now. He was very rudely greeted by a Star Wyvern that we learned had hurt more. So with no mitigation for that yet, he got sent back.
And Stag's now making his way into Cantlin. He's going to check this shop again. I'm not sure what he's looking to spend his 920 gold on. Maybe just checking the price of the silver shield now that he knows that there's a gold grind available.
Yeah.
And there was a spell. It was stop spell.
Okay, that's pretty good to see right here, I think.
Yeah, with the stuff that we've seen with sleep, the red dragons, things like that. Yeah. The hurt more monsters as well. Like, you can now fight those Star Wyverns.
Yeah, absolutely. It just brings a lot of stuff on the table that they have available to fight much more safely than they could have before.
Speaking of fight, the old man in Cantlin says, "Thou must go and fight." So that means that there is no overworld search coordinates. We've seen one cursed belt. Each cursed belt that we find in a chest informs us that there is one search tile that is activated for a key item. The 3 search tiles, of course, are the ones on the overworld coordinates, the one in Hawksness, and the one in Cole. So we now know that there are no coordinates, which just leaves Hawksness and Cole. And, potentially there could be another belt floating around out there. But it just narrows down what our runners need to find. Stags grabs a little bit of sundries on the way out, tops off at the very expensive inn in Cantlin. And it's probably going to make his way, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say he's going to make his way, and I'm interested to see what he'll do. He got sent back out of Mountain Cave, so he hasn't cleared that yet. It would be a decent opportunity, I think, to try to set up that gold grind if he's got equipment picked out that he wants.
Yeah, knowing that Cantlin's right there, and you know, we did see him check that price again. So Mountain might be the play. He does know where Garanham is, and he does know where the grave is, but I think the Mountain Cave is the closest to where he is. And just getting that extra defense power makes everything else, you know, go that much better for him, you know, exploring and whatnot.
Yeah, Silver Shield right now for Stags, he'd already be breaking Wizards. We know the agility increases on level 11. Elmore right now sitting on 78, which is quite high for the level. So, yeah, if he can get his hands on some of that gear, it will come in handy for sure.
And Elmore, I think, going in a direction we haven't seen. I don't think we've seen this path off to the right here through this desert.
Yeah, this looks unfamiliar to me.
And yeah, Stags did go straight for that mountain cave. I think, like you said, set up that gold grind, get his silver shield. And there's a cave up here. It's probably one of our turn-in caves, or maybe no, it's the Staff of Rain cave. Yeah, perfect. As much as I hate to see the silver harp go away.
Yeah, no more soulful ballads for our racers today, or at least Elmore. Stag still has an opportunity for a solo appearance.
Well, at this point, in his ability to kill things much better than the Drakey and the Warlock that were inside of this harp, we probably won't see it get played again. And there's a Sharlock sighting. Always check to make sure that the entrance is where you think it is.
Yes.
And it is.
You can get burned by that if you're not careful.
So we've got Stags making his way down to the deep mountain to open a few more chests before taking a death warp. And probably checking the bottom chest as well, right? He didn't clear the last chest. I think he got sent home before he saw the last one.
I believe so, yes. So skipping top floor is a nice call for him here. He might not even have gotten the top 2 chests either. But there's plenty of stuff for him to fight in here now. And speaking of which, Elmore making relatively quick work of that Axe Knight. So we're cruising along pretty well now here after what was a little bit of a grindy start, plus that worrisome checkpoint. Choke point, pardon me.
Yeah, exactly. That little what are those things called? Not an isthmus. Is it an isthmus?
Oh, I think I know the word. It is a. I'll get it.
Like what Panama in Central America is.
Yes, I think maybe it is. I thought there was another word. I'm gonna dig on this, but Zarnax is saying isthmus, and I trust him implicitly.
Zarnax confirmed. It is an isthmus.
Also, we get to blame him if he's wrong.
The Isthmus of Panama. There we go. This was the Isthmus of red dragons, star wyverns, blue dragons, wraith knights, and just poisoned swamps.
It's kind of a mouthful. They didn't really workshop the name very much.
You know, they just kind of said, let's call it what it is. And ElmoreStJames finds Remolder, so key access now to Elmore as well. Stag still definitely has the exploration advantage, but Elmore's got, a good, healthy level ahead of Stags right now. So we'll see how it continues and carries on.
The interesting thing here is Stags has seen the places where he needs to take keys.
Right.
And Elmore's going to have access to this Remolder chest, so if there's something good in it, that's a point for him. And if Stags finds some good stuff here in the back of Garanham, which he is fast approaching, then, I don't know, these finds are going to be interesting. For
sure. I think, Stags' knowledge is key here, because that, just plays into his routing, as ElmoreStJames picks up the most expensive torch in the game. Cost 2 keys to get that torch. So what do we got behind Garen?
Well, it looks like a refund key again. A fairy water. Elmore grabbing some magic armor here as Stags gets hold of the Stones of Sunlight, one of our 3 key items. So he is got all 3 quest items, just needs to find his harp trade-in cave, and he'll be able to form the rainbow drop, which, interestingly, we have not seen that turn in yet either, I don't think, have we?
I don't think we have. I'm pretty sure we're limited in locations. This is the stones. There's the Stones of Sunlight Cave, conveniently known as the bonus cave there, and that's got an herb in it. So that cave, the Jerk Cave or Rainbow Drop Cave, is going to be out on the overworld somewhere. So I think that's the last cave.
Yeah, that's the last cave. It was down to 50-50 whether the basement of Garanham was going to be that freebie cave or the Jerk.
But now that Stags has been through that, I'm certain he will probably make his way to the grave and dive the bottom of that, because I think that's what this cave just to the south of town is here. And maybe take his death warp from there. So excellent routing.
Yeah, that's really worked in his favor, just the order in which he found things.
Elmore meets the golem. He's going to try to take a swing on it. I mean, 21 damage, not bad, but they hit like a ton of bricks, because they are a ton of bricks.
Oh, okay, that's Rainbow Drop Cave right outside of Garanham. I missed that somehow.
Oh, for some reason I thought that was the grave. No, the grave was that one that was on the little island across the bridge, huh?
Yeah, it was kind of tucked away in a corner.
And Elmore, it looks like he's going to be able to take down this golem. It looks like it doesn't have any special attacks, just its very strong fists, and he's able to kind of use Dragon Lord strats on it, take a swing or two, cast a heal more, take another couple swings. The only thing that could really stop him, and I hate to curse it, is if the golem itself knows heal more.
Exactly, yeah. And the problem with a golem fight is you never know if it has heal more until way into the fight, because it takes so long to get into heal more range in the first place with that huge HP pool.
But he does take it down. It gets him level 12 and a chance to search the area. And there's the E-Sword.
All right, so all of a sudden Elmore has 118 attack power and is looking like he's in pretty good shape. Still needs some more magic points and attack power to be Charlock ready, but it's the levels have been pretty good through level 12 so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's going to really boil down to when he'll be able to find those final locations. He's got the keys he needs. He does have the small piece of key information that Stags doesn't have in terms of where the harp trade-in cave, and so he's already got his staff. He knows where Charlock is, but he still hasn't seen the grave. He still hasn't seen Garanham, which is where the Stones of Sunlight are. And I think the token was in the grave, was it not?
Token was Tablet?
Oh, yeah, that's right, the Tablet Cave, yeah.
So we've still got coal out there. Armor could still be there. We don't have any cursed belt information that will tell us one way or the other.
Yeah, I feel either way, if the armor doesn't turn up in coal, you've got to dive that deep grave, because you don't want to go down to Charlock and then have it not be there.
Yeah, very risky play to take an unarmored Charlock dive and go for it. The odds are with you, of course, that it would be in Charlock as opposed to Grave, but you don't really want to get in there and find out that it's not there and have to double all the way back to Grave if you can help it.
And so it looks like ElmoreStJames deciding to do a little mini grind here in Hawksness. He's hunting down these Axe Knights that are in the zone in the desert there. And Stags is exploring around.
Yeah, he still needs his harp trade. He's got some other things, pieces of business he's got to take care of too. He would need to find Hawksness and get back in there. I believe he's seen Hawksness already, correct?
Yes, he's seen it. He did check the golem, but ran away from it. He just was not quite prepared to fight it when he was there earlier. And so Elmore has found Garanham now, so he'll go ahead and pick up his Stones of Sunlight.
And I believe that is Grave. Yes, Stag's back inside. So he wants to get this piece of business done right away.
And I don't blame him. Like I said, this is, I think, excellent routing here, because he'll be able to go down there, pick up the 2 chests, and then he can Death Warp out, set up his gold grind, and get his Silver Shield. Kind of all in one outing, he's taken care of all of the key lock locations.
Yeah, and done so reasonably efficiently. I think it took him a little bit of time there to find Grave, but ultimately did a nice job of looping all that stuff in, using the knowledge that he'd accumulated to do this about as efficiently as you can hope to.
And the Wraith rudely dodging his attack and then punching him for 1 whole hit point. So we've got about 1,000 points between our 2 runners here. Stags with the exploration advantage, ElmoreStJames with the Erdrick's sword and experience advantage. Looks like he picked up a magic armor somewhere along the way. I think I missed that, but our tracker was on top of it. Good job, Kamiyo and Renokai.
Yeah, Elmore picked that up right around the same time Stags was getting his Stones of Sunlight, if I'm remembering correctly. So a little bit of a boost, though. And Elmore does not realize he does not yet have his token, so gets booted from the Jerk Cave.
And that little conversation there is why we call him the Jerk. Get out now. All right, Stags rapidly approaching chest 4 of the Grave of Garenham. There's a green dragon blocking the way.
Oh,
it's the armor.
Big, very big. Erdrick's
Absolutely.
armor in 4th chest of Grave. Let's see. He could probably leave right now if he wanted to. I guess he might be looking for his Death Warp if he wants to gold grind for a Silver Shield, though, or an improved sword.
Yeah, and I do think that Silver Shield is in his sights because he again he checked that shop in Cantlin, and I'm pretty sure that was to verify the price.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe the Fairy Flute's down there, just in case that Golem is the only grind available.
And that's true. Stags is the only racer who's seen Swamp Cave yet. He did not check the tile, opted to outside straight through it, was rewarded for that by getting access to the back door of Tangel and those keys that were important. But at the same time, without that knowledge, Elmore is thinking right now about that Golem grind. And Stags has another option available to him. We know Elmore... I guess Swamp Cave isn't really required. He's got his keys now, so whether he finds it or not, he might decide to leave it out there if he has all of his other stuff by that point.
Yeah, it's going to be boiled down to what he stumbles onto first. If he stumbles onto it, I'm sure he will go through it.
Yeah.
Because he still needs to find the tablet cave. We know that's where the token is as well. So there's a couple of caves outstanding for ElmoreStJames to go looking for. But yeah, if he finds all the other stuff first, there is no point to getting it.
Here's level 13 for Elmore. 2 power, 1 speed, 40 hit points, and 8 magic points, as well as a new spell, which is Hurt More.
There's the Hurt More, there's the hit points. All of a sudden, that Death Necklace is viable. Elmore hasn't picked it up yet. I think Death Necklace and the Fighter's Ring were both in the top of the grave. So once Elmore finds that grave is pretty stacked right there. It's got a Death Necklace, a Fighter's Ring, and an Erdrick's armor.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. So the longer the race goes without Elmore finding the grave, the more that window will open for Stags where he can finish off his homework. But Stags has got to find the Staff of Rain Cave too, so it's kind of a little bit of a race for those locations right now. Cole, we know now, is either the Fairy Flute or nothing. We haven't seen Cursed Belt confirmation that it was for sure there, so it could be in Charlock, in which case likely to be undiscovered.
Yeah, Cole kind of, if they find it, check the tile, why not? But I would not be going out of my way to find the town of Cole.
Right.
And Stag's taking down a red dragon, making use of that stop spell and hurt resistance. Gets his level 12 out of it, too. And taking the long walk out, I think just opting to, get some experience as he walks out. Maybe the Death Warp is now not on his mind, or he's looking for something particular to warp him out.
He's just looking for anything. Part of the problem right now, I was a little surprised he didn't opt to try to trigger it against the Red Dragon, but maybe he was just getting the casts too much from it and didn't think that was worthwhile. But Part of the problem is he's now got 80 defense, so he's breaking anything that's not a Charlock monster.
Right.
It's hard to get sent back sometimes when you have that much defense, unless you can find a really optimal monster for it.
And so, and if he's, well, I don't know if he's dropped his Fighter's Ring or Dragon Scale, but those are kind of some of the only things that you can use as an item to not swing on them. So he might also be killing things before they can kill him.
I think maybe he still had his Fighter's Ring left.
Or I guess he could. He could like cast Stop Spell over and over again on it too, I suppose.
That's quite true. Yes, that's kind of your backup strat. It's not optimal, but here we see Elmore heading into the grave, so it's a very big find for him.
Yes, and he's got the keys to just go ahead and dive straight on down to it, so he will be getting his armor shortly as well. But there's a Fighter Ring. He does put it on. Stags fighting this red dragon again. Puts him to sleep. Gets a bite. Gets a second bite. And
okay.
He's trying to get that death warp.
Just needed to find the right opponent, and maybe had seen a few too many casts from that red dragon to think it was going to send him back, but it obliged this time at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could have been that he killed that first one just because it was what he needed for the level, right?
Yes, exactly. So he had just gotten level 12 off of that red dragon. Entirely possible that was his thought process, then just wasn't finding another red dragon to send him home.
And so now he'll pick up the last couple of chests to make sure that he's got the full 8. For those the uninitiated, the original Dragon Warrior game had a glitch in how it tracked the way that chests are open. Essentially, it could only track 8 bits or 8 opened chests, and it resets that every time you go out to the overworld. So what our runners are doing here is what's called the gold glitch. It persists into the randomizer. In the randomizer, it's more of a feature than a glitch, where they open a few chests in a dungeon. Then they die in that dungeon. That takes them immediately to Tantagel without going to the overworld. The throne room of Tantagel immediately has 3 chests that are open from the beginning of the game, and so those get counted as 3. And then they jump into the treasury here, and as you can see, since the game doesn't know what to do about this chest because it doesn't have room to open it, it just stays closed, and he's able to open it over and over and over again and effectively print all the money he needs to purchase, in this case, the Silver Shield.
So Elmore's got his armor. He's also gotten a metal slime. So a good grave dive for Elmore so far. He's still out, looking for his token. So he's going to dive to the 5th chest. Stags has got his Silver Shield now, so 90 defense means he's breaking, I think, at least 4 monsters in Charlock. Actually, 5. No, 4. I had it right. Wizard, Werewolf, Star Wyvern, Green Dragon, all out if he chooses to repel them.
Yeah, so that Silver Shield, a big pickup there. It's also going to make that Dragon Lord fight. Once he gets his level 13 and sees that huge hit point boost, when you're taking less damage from the physicals, it greatly, the higher defense greatly increases the chance of getting double attacks.
Exactly. So the big concern for Stags right now, he doesn't know this, of course, but he's lagged to about 2,000 experience points behind Elmore, who is just picking up XP at will on these stats and with a Hurt More spell, making really good progress on his grind even while diving the grave, and is only about, after this Green Dragon, around 250 experience short of level 14.
Yeah, absolutely. So both our runners still have some knowledge that the other doesn't. I wouldn't be surprised to see if Stags... I think Stags has seen Hawksness, so he might go back there and see what's underneath it and get his sword. Because at this point, he should be able to take on that, especially with the armor, he should be able to take on Golem, no problem. Armor and Silver Shield? Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he'd have a Golem fight in the bag.
But he does then need to continue through, I think it was like kind of a desert off to the west of where he generally is, that kind of leads to Sharlock and the Harp turn-in cave. In fact, I think it might be this desert right here.
I believe you're correct. Yeah, it's kind of off to the northeast a little bit. This map has been pretty far spread out. A lot of the stuff that they're looking for, they've kind of do a lot of walking back and forth. Earlier in the seed, that looked like it might be an issue, but the stats have been good through the mid-game, and they're basically able to travel freely at this point.
Oh, maybe not this desert.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's not the one. Might be a little further to the north, perhaps.
All those deserts look the same. It's like they're just repeating the same tile over and over and over again.
It is a little bit like that, yes.
So our runners, again, just carrying on with their final bits of homework before they can settle into a grind. So outstanding on the map is Cole, probably not going to be needed. ElmoreStJames needs to find the Tablet Cave, which is going to have his Erdrick's token. He has not seen the Swamp Cave, but he doesn't necessarily need to find it, as this is a single continent seed with the Swamp Cave leading into the back of Tantagel. That's actually how Stags got his keys. Stags has not found Rimmildar, but I believe that is up in that general direction of where the staff trading cave in Cantlin are, which he's going to have to go to anyhow.
Elmore has picked up level 14 and another big pile of hit points. 160 on level 14.
This is about the highest hit points I've seen for this level anyways. I think I've seen more than 160, but I mean, I've seen level 20s not get nearly that much.
Yeah, exactly. With the Death Necklace on, he'd still have 120 hit points right now. So he's still in a range where he'd be getting doubles even after he puts that on. The Death Necklace, of course, if you're not familiar, is an item that gives you plus 10 attack power for 25% of your maximum hit points. So that's pretty remarkable that at level 14 he'd still be in a range to get some good doubles in against DL2, even with the Death Necklace on.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that much hit points, it's kind of you are going to put that Death Necklace on, because the advantage of getting with 160 hit points, you're not going to heal more up to max. So you might as well get your bonus attack power to maximize your swings.
Precisely. So the limiting factor right now, they've got good agility, hit points are fantastic, strength is good enough with the Death Necklace, but the problem is they've only got 67 MP on level 14. Not quite enough in the tank in terms of heal mores just yet to get the job done against DL2 most of the time. So still have a little bit of work to do there, but Elmore's just found Tablet Cave.
So that's going to be his final piece of the puzzle in terms of really everything, unless he decides he wants to open up that gold grind for a silver shield. He will have his Erdrick equipment as well as all of the items that he needs, and I think he's also seen the Rainbow Drop Cave. In fact, yeah, he talked to the jerk who kicked him out.
Exactly. He's got that on his mind right now. He's gonna go back and say, "I've got your token right here, sir.
I'll show you who's Erdrick's heir."
I found this piece of metal in a box deep in a cave.
It's Erdrick's Pog. I think I heard somebody call it Erdrick's Pog the other day.
That's great.
I'll show you who's Pog champ. And Stags fighting this red dragon here. I think he likes the experience that it gives, and he's had some good luck with them previously, so might as well take him out.
Yeah, I think he might have gotten back attacked in this one, but he was able to land a stop spell on his first try, I think. We haven't really gotten a good sample of whether or not they can be stop spelled, what their stop spell resist is just yet, but was able to land that one there, which is a little bit reassuring for level 13.
So Stag's going to pick up his big ol' hit point gain there, and his Hurt More spell, which is going to help tremendously. In fact, having that Hurt More is what has allowed Elmore to widen that gap. He probably had it for a good 10 minutes, maybe more than Stags.
I think Stags maybe just found coal, which is going to be a little bit of a disappointment. He's still looking for the sword, but it will be confirmation for him at least. I think he will have then seen everything else and then must know that the sword is either in Charlock or in Hawksness.
And he just saw a big fat nothing right there, so the one cursed belt he's found tells him that he does have to get back to Hawksness in order to get the one item that is available in a search tile.
Cheap Flame Sword is a decent consolation prize. He still had plenty of money left over from his gold grind, so was able to grab that at least. It will help bridge the gap to that sword and make the golem fight a little bit easier when he gets to Hawksness.
Chat asking, where's the sword? The sword is underneath the golem in Hawksness. So there's a golem blocking that spike tile. And ElmoreStJames now in the back of Tantagel. He'll find the swamp cave. Maybe he'll check the spike here. Yeah, he's going straight to it.
Yeah, I don't think he has anything else left to find. If he hasn't seen Cole, but he knows that at most it's the flute and has all his gear, so he's just going to head for the spike, and it's this red dragon that might be pretty free with stop spell.
Yeah, this is a great grind. If that stop spell goes off regularly, I'd go do it.
Yeah, a huge chunk of experience, and it seems like it's casting a lot, so if you can land those stop spells with good frequency, this is a fantastic grind, and he only has to pick up, let's see, he's already at 6,000 experience, so he only needs a handful of these to get to the next level, which could be go.
I feel like this is my fault, because my last race, the grind was also a red dragon in the swamp cave.
We had the harp strats today, and the red dragon in swamp cave.
Just my essence is flowing through into this seed.
It's the Veluvi effect. I will say Elmore did the first two stop spells of this fight were misses. So the red dragon has at least some stop spell resist, and based on that sample, it might be on the higher end.
Yeah, somewhere better or worse, right? Worse for our runners maybe than a 50-50. I mean, we've seen a couple of them stick pretty quickly as well. So I would almost imagine somewhere in that, like maybe 7-16, or maybe the other side of it, the 9-16.
Yeah, based on the limited data we have so far, it seems like that's likely to be the case. But you never can tell. It's always these little samples, and then all of a sudden you miss a stop spell in a critical situation or what have you.
We could ask our tracker to show us, but I don't know if we're ready to have that spoiled just yet.
Yeah, probably not just yet. We'll wait a little bit longer, see what they decide to do, if they're going to fight him in Charlock or what have you. Might still be one on the Charlock boss tile, so...
Elmore gets a Kaishin Ichi no Geki rather on the blue dragon there, is able to take it out in 2 swings with that. Yes, NeoCAD99. In the standard flags, enemy resists are randomized to a degree.
Yeah, these stop spell resists have... Each of the enemies has a stop spell cap. The maximum its stop spell resist could possibly be. Sleep resists are the same as they are in vanilla, however. Those are never randomized except for when the randomized monster stats, or what's frequently referred to as chaos flags, are on.
Yes, there was a time when you could have chaos flags on with the Dragon Lord that was, casting sleep and had a 15 out of 16 stop spell resist. That has been capped now.
Yes, that's a little bit lower. So stop spell resist across the board was lowered a little bit for all monsters in version 2.2.1, which we're on right now. So those have been changed a little bit.
And so, I'm not sure what Elmore is looking for. Maybe he's going into Charlock. He's going to dive that, maybe do a grind that way.
He's pretty close to the level. He's only got about 700 experience. He's been fighting a lot of this stuff like Stone Men and so forth. We've seen a lot of the Charlock monsters not really be much of a nuisance, and on 160 hit points, even if you get put to sleep by a red dragon, you're still in okay shape because it's going to cast a certain amount of the time.
So I'm wondering, was there a town nearby that he can quickly go back and refill to? Or refill at, rather.
That would be the question. I'm not really sure that there is a town up in this neighborhood.
Looks like he's content to fight these stone mans right in front.
Yeah, got a stone man, got an axe knight. Those are both pretty free right here for him. And as we pointed out, only needs a couple of those to get to the level. If he finds it to his liking, he'll be go. If he doesn't, then he might think about going to grind somewhere else. And he is going to use the rainbow drop to create the rainbow bridge here and head in to at least take a look at the top floor of Charlock, see what that first zone is all about.
And I kind of like this play because you know they're going to be Charlock monsters, so they're going to give decent experience. And I think it has a slightly better encounter rate than the swamp tiles that he was walking in outside. Although it seems like maybe not, as he takes many, many steps.
Yeah, I carried over a little bit. I think they are the same, if I'm remembering correctly. I think the brick tiles are 1 in 16, which would be the same as the swamp and the forest.
Oh, gotcha. I thought the bricks were the same as the hills. But again, I'm by no means an expert on that.
Hills are the same as desert. It's just that you get that 1 frame delay because you're apparently walking over hill and valley in between hills.
I'm so glad they took that out in the later games.
Well, an interesting thing is once you beat the game, you don't get that frame lag anymore. If you walk over hills, it's just smoothed out. It's like Lorik sent the bulldozers and the steamrollers in and just flattened everything.
He just walks right over them mountains. And Elmore, one more fight away from his level 15. We'll see if that is a go level or not. Stags fighting this red dragon off to the right here. So it looks like Stag still has not found that Harp Trade-In Cave or the Charlock area. And so for every second that he doesn't have that, that just gives Elmore more time to grind. So, oh, it looks like he's found Charlock. So if I remember correctly, it looks like he's found kind of a backdoor way to it than we saw before.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different path, but this is the direction, I think. Through this swamp to the north will be Staff Cave. 3-1-5-13 for Elmore. That puts him on a perfect 10 healmores.
And so with his attack power where it is, assuming he puts on the Death Necklace, he'll be at 137 attack power. That is 12 swings on average for the Dragon Lord. 10 healmores is perfectly enough to just barely do it. But considering he will very most likely be getting some double swings in there, I think this is definitely a go level.
Yeah, 165 HP you expect to be able, and since you have, they've really seen everything that could possibly be in Charlock, except for maybe wizards, and if he wants to repel those, he can. But on 137, like you said, 12 swings on average, it's kind of fringy. 11, it's right there on the border between those two. So this is for sure go time for Elmore. It's just a matter of what Charlock will be like, and you have to hope to get a little bit lucky against the red dragons that they don't sleep you, perhaps. But if he gets there with full resources, he'd be a favorite for sure.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the town that's close by is Rimeldar, so there's no restocking on herbs or fairy waters before going in. I don't think he made like a pit stop off at Cantlin to fill his inventory with fairy waters before heading this direction. So we'll see how that plays. In fact, it looks like he might be looking for another town right now. Or is this the way into Charlock? I kind of missed it.
It is.
It
is the way to Charlock. Yeah, there was a branch I hadn't seen before that kind of takes you to the northwest and Remolder there, but that was the path apparently.
And of course, there's red dragons right there. He gets away from the first one, and agility at 84 is pretty good. That gives you, I think that makes you a favor to run from them, or close to a 50-50.
Yeah, anything in that neighborhood, I think it's still just slightly less than a coin flip for reds. I think you hit true 50-50 around 88 or 90. So it's a little bit shy of that, but still pretty good. And because they're going to cast hurt a certain percentage of the time, you can maybe not worry so much about the sleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big hit points.
Precisely. Even if he does get slept, he can take a ton of hurts or a couple of bites, and it's not really going to phase him much.
Yeah. Was hoping probably not to test that theory, but did get slept and hit twice right there.
Yeah, and he's opting not to even heal up afterwards.
Yeah.
Which may be bad if this one keeps him asleep.
All told, though, if he, depending on what his herb supply is, especially this early in floor 1, I don't mind trying to put that heal walking to your advantage a little bit. Like you said, you can run from the red dragons pretty frequently, and I think you kind of just have to take a chance on it this early in the dive.
For sure. Worst case scenario, he gets sent home, and he can restock up on herbs and fairy waters at Cantlin right next to there. Deeper in, you probably want to be a little protect your more invested dive a little more, though.
Yeah. He has entered Zone 2. This is Basement 3, so there are 3 different enemy zones in Charlock. Each of them will have slightly different monster sets most of the time. And so we've seen mostly not harmful stuff down here so far. Axe Knights just have Stop Spell and Hurt, so they're not a big issue. Wizards we haven't seen a turn from. The Stonemen. The Stonemen had something. I just don't immediately recall what. I think it was maybe Weak Breath.
Chat's saying that they had sleep, but I don't recall.
I think it might have been Sleep Weak Breath, which in that case, that kind of offsets a little bit too, in much the same way the Reds with Sleep and Hurt do, so you're not so worried about those. And just like that, Elmore's already in Zone 3 on the U-shaped floor.
Yeah, so just 2 short floors away from the basement of Charlock Castle, and then just one big long walk around the perimeter to fight the Dragon Lord.
Stags just picked up level 14, so he's got his big HP boost, but unfortunately still out there looking for his Harp Trade-In Cave. Does not have Charlock access yet.
Yeah, and that Harp Cave was close to Charlock, but I think it was off to the east, kind of northeast, if I recall, and I think he came in from the northwest and didn't branch back off in that direction.
Yeah, might have just been one of those things where he came from that direction, maybe thought he'd already seen up there, but I do believe you're correct. I think Staff Cave was up there in that swamp northeast of Charlock.
And it was kind of right at the end of a dead end, so you have to kind of follow it all the way to the end there.
Exactly.
And it's another golem.
This should be fairly rote for Elmore. We didn't see anything out of the golems, and he's easily going to be able to survive this fight without needing to burn a heal more.
Yeah, you got a couple high rolls of 48 there against it. And so there you go, 4 shots and it's down. He might burn an herb or 2 before fighting Dragon Lord. All these dragons are trying to say no. Don't fight our Lord.
Was a little bit of a flinch there when the blue dragon showed up, because they have DL2, of course, but able to get away on the first turn on 70 hit points, so didn't have to expend any resources beyond herbing up before the fight.
And he does use 4 herbs to go into it with maximum hit points, and he'll immediately put on that Death Necklace. So if you put on the Death Necklace in the fight, your HP doesn't drop down until you move on to the next fight, so that allows him to even get some free swings in here, as even this Hurtmore I don't think is taking him down to what his actual hit points are going to be. This Hurtmore will, though.
Yeah, that Hurtmore will, so he's going to expend one of his 2 remaining herbs, try to look for a stop spell or a physical attack that would not do as much damage. Didn't get it, but he's still in pretty good shape here.
Absolutely. So hoping for no back attack. With this agility, there shouldn't be one, but it's still possible. Hope he gets the first swing. Dragonlord does a punch, so he's got an opening double there. And that was a low roll of 9 there.
Yeah, don't like to see that.
Not expecting that, yeah. Meanwhile, on the other screen, we do have Stags fighting his golem, so he'll be getting his Erdrick sword here momentarily.
18's a nice roll for Elmore. They're already banked 71 damage and gets another double for 86.
So this is, barring a miss menu, all but one for ElmoreStJames here. Another low 10 hit point there.
111 now for Elmore.
Should put him at 120. 132. 145. Dragon Lord has between 150 and 165, so this swing could do it. And it does.
There we go. Pretty clean Charlock dive, pretty clean DL2 fight. Everybody get your GGs out in chat for ElmoreStJames, who is going to take home the win in this one. Bump his record up to 2-3 heading into the bracket phase. He'll have a chance to get to the bracket in that play-in race following week 5, or round 5 of this Swiss tournament.
Yes, absolutely. The 3-win threshold is what was required for a guaranteed berth, but there is a play-in race for everybody that has 2 wins, and there will be a play-in to get into the play-in race for everybody that has 1 win. So there is still a chance for both of our runners to make it into that bracket. It's a little bit easier chance for Elmore, but certainly a chance nonetheless. And so, yeah, an excellent job by ElmoreStJames. He does get finished with an official time of, I'm looking for it, 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 29 seconds. And we're going to see if we can get him into chat for a quick interview. So it looks like Stags is still continuing on. There is some chat in the race room, but we do see him running around still fighting some monsters and things. I don't believe this tournament is listed on Challenge. Archfield, you might be able to clear that up, but I don't think it is.
Not yet. I think the bracket phase will end up being, but there are some resources over in the DWR Discord, so you can find out everything you need to find out about that. So you can click on that link there. You can also see the schedule, which does have the past races on it. And if you head to the Discord, you can head to the Summer Tournament channel, and you'll be able to find in there a spreadsheet that has all of the rankings and different implications for those sorts of things, as well as the tournament rules. So all of that fun stuff is there. If you haven't joined yet, please go check it out. Find out more about our tournament and all the racers in it.
Absolutely, and it looks like we do have ElmoreStJames in the commentator's booth for a post-game interview. Great job, and welcome in.
Thank you, thank you. That seed was quite the rush.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting one. What were your kind of initial impressions, initial thoughts of the last hour and a half or so of Dragon Warrior Randomizer racing?
I'm going to start with saying that I definitely tried to respect the grind, and it helped out, I think, in the end. I went for a somewhat early-ish exploration and found Mountain Cave, and then on the second try, saw some nasty enemies on the way, and just said, you know what, I'll hang out here for a little bit.
Yeah, in fact, there was a bit of a divergence right around, I want to say maybe level 7 or 8, where you definitely stayed back and kind of grinded on those. I want to say it was Warlocks and maybe some Wyverns a little later than that, whereas Stags did venture out and do a little bit more exploration. But I think ultimately the choice to just keep grinding it out until, I think it was once you found Hurtmore, you're ready to just really rock and roll. But that I think did definitely help you out. There were some points where it was like, well, Stags is getting a whole lot of information, but he's, now 500 points behind. Now he's 750 points behind. And it just continued to grow from there, especially once you found that Hurtmore spell.
Yeah, Hurtmore was a huge boon, and it was... I almost forgot I had it the first couple of fights after I got it.
Sometimes it's yeah, especially because you were already pretty strong, right? So if you've already been killing strong monsters with the sword, it's like, oh yeah, I have a magic spell that'll do this a little faster.
Yeah, and in no, I don't want to spoil anything, but in the chat, well, actually, you're following along. I'm not spoiling anything. And the race time GG, Stags said something about not finding the Staffarang cave, and I was like, oh, it's right there. And then I realized exactly where it was, and I almost missed it as well. I kind of walked back, and then I was like, I'm gonna check that out, and sure enough, it was there.
Yeah, it looks like he is closing in on it right now. I think he's in the right general direction. But
I
yeah,
think
that
it's
has been
worth.
evading him for so despite that early exploration lead, he did never find that staff cave.
Yeah, and the seed had kind of it all. It has a somewhat slow start, the Trolloc enemy kind of choke point, getting out into the exploration. It had Erdrick's armor at the bottom of Grave. It had Token and Tablet Cave. It had all these instances of should I skip it or should I go? Okay, well, I'm so far out here, might as well go down there. Oh, I'm glad I did.
Yeah, definitely. It also kind of had that tease of looking like it was going to be very low hit points. Like you guys were getting like 1 and 2 hit points per level for a while, and then it was like, boom, here's 40. Boom, here's like 40 more.
That it was incredibly high hit points after it's everything kind of came together at the same time. You had the strength early, which was very nice. You didn't really have access to a strong weapon because I believe broadsword was 3,000 or something. Oh, is that where Cole was?
Yeah, that little island or town on the tile in the ocean there.
So I didn't open the treasury in Tanagal. I didn't find Cole. I didn't look for the coordinates because I found everything else before then.
Yeah, that was yeah, great on you. There was a gold grind available, so Stags did do that gold grind for that 12,000 gold silver shield that was in Cantlin there. So that was a part of his routing because Stags had found keys actually in a different way than you did. You found Rimildar, whereas Stags stumbled upon the swamp cave, which backed into Tantagel. So he like outside it out and got keys that way. So he had his keys and he knew where all those locations were already, like Garenham, the grave, and everything. So he just kind of routed it out to be able to open all those doors and then death warp in to get a silver shield grind. But yeah, Cole had nothing. There was only one curse belt, so there was really only one location that had had a thing in it. And it looks like we've got Stags in here as well. So Stags, good game. What were your thoughts on the seed? Oh, looks like we might be having some microphone issues. Make sure your push to talk is on, maybe. Well, I'm sure he'll get let us know once he's got that mic going. Oh yeah, I think I see it there. There you go. Welcome in. Yeah, good effort there. It looks like that staff cave kind of eluded you a bit. But other than that, what were your thoughts going into it? And then we'll get to the staff afterwards.
When we were running around for a bit, when I got into the back of Tantagel, I thought, this totally could be a huge coup for me. And then I found Rimalder, and I'm like, oh man, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you did find that that Tantagel, that swamp entrance there, maybe about 5 or 7 minutes earlier than Elmore found Rimildar. But I must say your routing after that was exemplary because you had already seen all the keylock locations. So you just made sure that we're going to go and we're going to open Garen. We're going to go into the grave. We're going to go ahead and use that to death warp out and get that silver shield. So that was, I think, a piece of brilliant routing in terms of just getting all of your keylock stuff as well as your gold grind taken care of in one fell swoop.
Yeah, I had a lot of homework written down, and I just missed one of my assignments.
Yeah, that staff cave was, I want to say, somewhere kind of to the north of Sharlock, and it was all the way at the kind of end of a dead end. I can't recall exactly how it got there. Yeah, Elmore, go ahead.
When you went north of Mountain and then headed east to Charlock, right above that little T-junction, there was it narrowed up, and I almost walked past it as well. And I'm trying to be more completionist, and I went up there, and at the very end of that peninsula, there was the Staff Turning Cave right there.
Yeah, so it was right there at the kind of tip of a little peninsula dead end thing there.
That's too bad. Oh well. What level? Oh wait, I can see you ended up finishing on 15.
I did. With the incredible amount of hit points we had, I figured I'd get at least a couple of doubles, which I did, and I swung fairly high, so I finished with 2 heal mores left in the tank. But it was fairly safe, I think, at 15.
Yeah, when I saw the level up to 15, I thought, okay, this is totally go mode. But I still didn't have the Staff of Rain.
I was very scared of the red dragons with sleep, since I didn't want to use the MP to cast Stop Spell on them to get away. And luckily, with 160 hit points, it was pretty easy to soak up the damage as you were trying to get away.
Yeah, I think
Good
y'all.
game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you all had both been fighting red dragons for a little bit already. Obviously, spending magic points and trying to conserve that. But yeah, it seemed like it didn't phase you too much. In fact, I think you one took a couple of big bites at you, and you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to use an herb. We're just going to heal, walk this off. And yeah, you were able to make it down there with full resources. But yeah, excellent game. It looks like we do have our schedule up for the next races coming up tonight. In fact, already underway. We've got Angel FM versus Nest Cardinality on RPG Limit Break. That started at 2000. That's what, 8 o'clock Eastern time. All these are Eastern time. Tomorrow, we've got DK9146 versus Zarnax 42. That'll be on RPG Limit Break as well at 7 o'clock. At 8 o'clock tomorrow, we'll have Diabetes the Second versus Janice Zeal. Channel to be determined. Also tomorrow at 11 Eastern, the late night owls race between Lavkian and Ragai 3745. And finally, on the 8th of September, we're going to have Cyberdark versus Sparkover at 7 p.m. Those channels will be updated a little bit later, but keep an eye on all your favorite randomizer channels, Randomania and RPG Limit Break, and you're sure to find more Dragon Warrior Randomizer as the time goes on. And so to our runners, any last minute comments, thoughts about the seed?
I thought it was an interesting, fun seed. I just wish I hadn't missed that one cave. A good game, way to find it.
Yeah, GG to you. I enjoyed myself, and the rapid pace after that one breakthrough level was quite traumatic, and I enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to heading over to see the Nescard Angel race.
Yeah, we tried to schedule our match when no one else was on, so we'd have the whole airwaves, and then little did we know.
And I almost went back to you to say, hey, maybe we should do like very fast experience or something like that. But I think this ended pretty well, and got plenty of time to watch them over there.
Yeah, it was a great race to watch. Thank you both, and GG to you both.
And thanks to all the volunteers, the comms and tracker and restreamer. Thanks a lot. It's been a fun tournament.
Absolutely. Thank you, runners, for putting on a great show for us. Of course, our tracker tonight was Kamion Renokai. Restreaming and joining me in the commentator's booth was Archfield Monk, and I am Velu V. Our runners today were ElmoreStJames and Stags28. All of their links are there in the chat. Go ahead and click those links. Give them a follow. Support their streams, especially if you'd like to watch Dragon Warrior Randomizer and other randomized RPGs. We do a whole lot of that on our channels. And with that being said, I'm not sure if we've got a raid set up, but if we do, we'll be raiding shortly. Otherwise, I'm Velu V saying have a great night, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yep, headed over to RPG Limit Break right now to catch Nest Card versus Angel already in progress.